This conference will now be recorded.
Hey guys, it's Money Mel. Just wanted to jump on and go over some unusual large dark pool activity we had coming through the tape this evening, and just interesting size considering the names that we're seeing coming through. So I did post some of these screenshots on Twitter, but just kind of wanted to add a little bit more context, mainly because we are outside of earnings, and this is just not really typical activity that we would see coming into all of these names, especially with the size that we're seeing when we don't really have a known event like an ER coming up. So just going to jump right in, starting off with Amazon. Amazon, we have 382,000 shares. That is extremely notable size for Amazon at 35.45. So you can see all the activity here on the right hand side. We do have it overlaid with the proprietary dark pool volume profile at price. Remember, this is after hours, guys, and a dark pool print is not pulling liquidity from the lit market. It is a recording of a transaction. So there's nothing that's going to tell us directionally what the intent is here. So you'll notice that my candles on my charts are all one color. The candle being on the volume bar being red or green is not going to tell you an indication. The Webull app that's telling you inflow, outflow is not going to tell you the intent of this dark pool print. We just have to watch further price action and use this as an additional area of support. But at least we're aware going into tomorrow's session and the rest of this week that there has been some unusual activity. We want to be watching these names. Black Box Stocks members, make sure you're watching the flow. So we want to be able to find some activity that's going to be same strike, same expiration, contract price going up. I've went through a few of these names. I did find it interesting, some of the size that we had in Amazon for this week, the 3600s. But when I go through and review the tape, we're a little mixed here. So we really need to verify an open interest tomorrow. I'm looking at the 1119 3600 calls to see what stayed in OI. So if this is one you're looking at, definitely be sure to check that out tomorrow morning. Just check to see how many of these contracts actually stuck in open interest. So we know we've got Amazon here with some larger size, and write these levels on your charts. Because we don't know the intent, they will still act as areas of support and resistance because we have larger volume by price. Let's jump into another one, Apple. Apple. We are seeing size here in this one too, with 6 million shares after hours at 150. So at that whole level, didn't really see, or gonna be honest, Apple is so liquid and trades so heavily. Options flow, there was not anything that was really standing out to me. There was some activity in the 1119 150s. We had ask side earlier. You'll see that there's some bid side here. We know that with Apple. Apple just will see so much activity. You often have calls open and closed on the same day, not seeing anything unusual there. We also had smaller activity, but still notable. Microsoft is not one that sees as large of the size that we typically will see in like Apple. But let's see, Microsoft with 428,000 shares, 336.07. We also had Google. And this is one that kind of first caught my attention because typically, remember, it's about knowing the individual names and how they each trade and what we normally see. So what we see on Apple as being unusual with the amount of share volume that gets printed in the dark pool is not going to be the same for all tickers. So that's where there's the advantage of having somebody who's looked at this tape and knows these tickers so well. So for example, Google even seeing a 30,000 share dark pool print is unusual. And when you look at the size that we have coming through tonight, we have 172,000 shares. That's $500 million, $511 million here at 2969.04. Had some put activity here earlier for this week. Doesn't look, it's kind of mixed here, bid side, ask side, still nothing really clear there, but something that was a little bit of interest was we have some spec flow. And what do I mean by spec flow? It means that they are out of the money. We do not have a lot of notional size behind it, but we did have contract price moving up. So they were coming into the 11.19 3100s, paying $1.83, continued to move up in price, $1.85, $1.90, and $2.20. This came in end of day right before power hour. So something to see if they continue to come back into that strike and expiration tomorrow in the flow. So knowing that we had, oh, and then Tesla real quick, Tesla monster move today. And actually this was interesting because Swan pointed this out on the mic earlier. So look at this print right here at 1:37 a.m. Central Time. So your timestamp may look a little bit different if you're on the platform. 85,000 shares at 986. That came in just, you can see this barely, you can see it right here, but moments before this tight consolidation, moments before, like 3-4 minutes before you got that news and you got that massive rip, you had this unusual dark pool activity. And that was something a lot of the members were looking at in the room, and we started to see the price momentum and then also a flurry of call flow to support this move to the upside. So again, we've got the advantage of being able to have not only the dark pool activity, but also the options flow that provides us with more direction on where they want to take these trades. Definitely had above the ass sweepers with size into Tesla 1119, 1100 calls. So that's one to keep on watch. Otherwise, didn't have the dark pool size in like the queues after hours, but wanted to kind of show off a little bit of flow because this is kind of how we're using the information, right? We know that there's some unusual activity. So we're have a created awareness. We know to set up our charts with that pricing level so we can see how price interacts at those areas. But outside of that, we're trying to look for additional clues. So I'm going to take a look at the cues now, and had really mixed flow all day, but it was worth noting some activity we had that had some decent size building here into the cues. The 405 calls for 1215. Again, think about that. That's a little bit further dated, but we did have a little over 4,600 contracts open with 1.52 million into that strike and expiration. And additionally, this was more speculative, but still something Charlie even noticed here, the 1231. So this is going to be the end of the year with 418 strikes. And you can see that we don't have as much notional here. We're definitely out of the money with this trade, but they did continue to come back in, contract price moving up as they did. Not as much money flow here. It did actually build a little bit. We have 6,900 contracts here with 1.4 million, but really the only consistency I was able to find as far as call flow in the queues, again, full disclosure, it was still pretty mixed. We have some put activity mixed in there as well. So not seeing anything that's really clean and decisive. But one other side note was TECL. If you don't know this ticker, this is the 3 times leveraged tech ETF. Little activity, the 1217 $80 calls. This has been a strike and expiration they have been active in, 110,000 behind it. And we always like to keep our eye on the TQQQ gang. We love seeing sweeper activity here, just not able to really pinpoint anything that was directional or consistent. So black box members, make sure you're watching TQQQ tomorrow. Sometimes we will see activity come in first thing in the morning. If you get that activity call flow wise or put flow wise, same strike, same expiration, contract price going up, definitely make sure you're paying attention there. I know that I definitely will be, as well as some of the other names that we had. Because this is so concentrated on our bigger tech names, our bigger percentage weightings in both the SPY and the Qs. Whichever direction we end up going, that's going to be a bigger move considering we've had so much activity concentrated in all these names, which is definitely unusual. If you are not a Black Box Stocks member, we would love to have you join us. I am one of several moderators. I am on the mic all through the trading day. We're talking about the activity coming through not only dark pool, but also the options flow. We're dissecting that. We're looking at the chart setup. up, making sure we're sticking with flow that we're finding to be actionable. We would love to have you come and join us. I do have a promotion. We're currently launching the Black Box Black Friday sale a little bit early. You can click here. It's posted on my pinned messages. That's going to give you 20% off your first month. And then also taking an additional discount for the annual, bringing that price to $859 for the year. So if you have any questions, I'm Mel at blackboxstocks.com. You can certainly send me a message. Otherwise, I hope you guys all have a good day. Please like and subscribe to this one if you can on my channel. I'm going to try to start doing more of these when we start to see more unusual options flow or dark pool activity. Appreciate you guys taking the time to join. We will check in with you later.